we live?
Horse, Earth horse.
1, 2, I will over 2. They say resist is futile. That individual is out of style. It's a simulation, not a but I know less about
Hello and good evening. Star Trek The Next Generation Season 2, Episode 15, Pen Pals is over, and it has been since May 1st of 1989, but we're just getting started here for May the 8th, 2025, as we continue our mission to watch every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation and talk all about it and review it. I'm Dave Mader here on Live Long and Podcast, a live stream on YouTube. We were supposed to be on Facebook, but that canceled at the last second, so we're not on Facebook tonight. Maybe we'll post later. But we are on Twitch, and you might be listening to us an audio version. We got a great panel to break this down. Coming to us from the land of Oz. It's not Justin Velociraptor as it was meant to be. It is our last-minute substitution. It's Jody Simpson.
Hello, Dave.
Hello. We appreciate
Here
you
I
coming
am.
in.
Watching The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, we're off.
I obviously do not have the right thing to be looking at right now. So what can you do?
Well, it's okay. It looks like an acid trip in your background there.
It is a bit of an acid trip for sure.
Well, hey, that's fun. Should hopefully not distract me throughout this podcast.
Well, I can turn it if that's a problem.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I like it. It keeps you psychedelic. Coming in next, joining us for 2 weeks in a row here, it's the great Ashley Millard.
Hello.
Hello, Ashley. We'll see if your opinion of Pulaski has been warmed up at all after this episode.
Spoiler alert. No.
No, I didn't think. Well, I was hopeful. And coming in next, to round out our panel here, it's Nova Scotia's own Davan Skelhorn. Given the title of this episode, is it more appropriate for me to communicate in this manner? Wouldn't you agree? Well, maybe a ham radio would be good. I don't know, something along those lines. You can communicate. I'm glad we agree. Well, me too. Me too. Of course, this is the 41st episode overall of Next Generation and the 15th of the season. In this episode, acting ensign Wesley Crusher learns to manage a science team. And in the primary plot, focusing on Starfleet's prime directive, Data helps a young girl on a troubled planet. The story by Hannah Louise Shearer and teleplay by Melinda Snodgrass with a directed by Winrick Colby.
What a last name. Snodgrass.
Snodgrass. Who wrote this? Snodgrass. I should have known.
It sounds like a strain of weed. Snodgrass.
I think she wrote quite a few episodes in the second season, including The Measure of a Man, Up the Long Ladder, which we still have to review, The Ensigns of Command, and High Ground. But The Measure of a Man The Measure of a Man being her first episode that she wrote, which is what Davan's.
That's a good first episode.
Yeah. Well, this is her second one. How do we feel it went the second time around?
Not as good.
Not as good? Now, she only wrote the story. She didn't write the teleplay. Oh, no, she did write the... no, other way around. She only wrote the teleplay, not the story. So that's maybe...
So she really is responsible for this then.
Yeah.
Am I the sole defender of this episode?
No, I like it.
We're going to find out.
Jody said... When Jody was asked, will you come in for this episode, he says, man, what a terrible episode.
I was going to start mouthing off right then, but I just held my tongue.
Yeah, I don't hate this episode, although I think it's not exactly the most exciting one either. But I think it's got a lot of good stuff in it. Maybe start with you, Davan. Defend this.
Well, I agree it's not exciting per se, but it's got some good stuff. One, it's got Pulaski, and you know what? I'm just going to say it right now. I do like her better than Beverly Crusher.
Like her better? Wow.
Wow.
That's saying something.
she
Can we
gets
just
more
kick
stuff
him
to
off
do.
just now, or what?
I don't know. Beverly's just there to like enhance what other people are doing. Pulaski actually like they give her like agency of her own, and she's interesting, and she's
Yeah.
nice. Like I find she's quite nice. She's good with young Wesley and stuff like that. But
There's a good
also,
moment
you know,
here
this
with
episode.
Wesley. Yeah.
It's elementary, dear Data.
Yeah, that's
Now,
what
my one nitpick for this episode. Well, let me just talk about the things I like with the episode for my nitpick, I guess. But I like the Prime Directive thing. They haven't really got into it too much in the series so far as like really analyzing where to draw the line on the Prime Directive and stuff like that. But here they actually discuss it, and you know, Worf's just like, you know, it's absolute, and Pulaski's just like, that's cowardly, and you know. So like, there's some interesting stuff there. That I don't hate the Wesley stuff. My nitpick is the fact that they put him in charge in the first place. Like that's what. But anyway, like I know he's a wonderkind and all, but like, what are they doing? Like this is an important mission actually. Like they actually have to make sure they get this information. You know.
They gave him a lot of responsibility. He might not be
They sure
thanking.
did.
He
They
may
sure
not be
did.
thankful after he finds out how much it goes. And there's this episode, like I never realized it until I watched it today. There's like a time jump of like what 5 weeks or something.
What?
Like, yeah, like it's like in one of the captain's log, he's like, we've been in this region of space for 5 weeks, looking at these unstable planets. You know,
Oh,
et
from the
cetera.
last episode, you mean?
No, I mean in this episode.
In the
Like,
episode.
What?
within the episode, because
Oh,
they
I
start
missed
this.
that.
Yeah, me too. I've always missed it. It's like a real throwaway line in the dialogue, but Captain Picard says in his things that like it's not they travel to many planets, and that Data has been communicating with what's her name, Sarjenka, for almost that amount of time as well. It's not, but yeah, you can miss that really easily, I think.
Well, it makes sense why they're more friends. I think I did actually pick up on that years ago, but I forgot. Because yeah, it makes sense that they're closer friends, him and Shashenka, that way.
yeah.
But
I think there's some really good Prime Directive debate in this episode. We'll go over to Ashley next. I know you're not. Pulaski hasn't won you over yet. Maybe she never will. But
It's been like 30 years. She's never won me over. But she's fine in this episode, I guess. I just know who she is. She's putting it on. She's faking this, caring about
Fake it
anyone.
till you make it.
Nah. I like it. It's a classic. It's a classic Star Trek trying to figure out what they should do. Do they follow the rules or do they follow morality? And I enjoy that in a Star Trek episode. I don't always need everyone always running around. Sometimes I like that moral dilemma where they just debate what they should be doing.
Well, Worf won't have any of that debate.
The Prime Directive is not a matter of degrees. It is an absolute.
Oh, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Jody,
Yes.
what's your favorite part of the episode?
Probably the credits.
Yeah?
You know what? It's been a long time since I've watched it, and I got kind of thrown into this, so I'm going to remember from the screenshots because I.
Are you saying you're not as recently caught up to us?
I'm not as recently caught up to you guys. I remember not hating Pulaski in this episode, but I'm with Ashley. I'm not a big fan of Pulaski to begin with. But the moral dilemma and the underlying story because of that is okay, but all the interactions with the girl are absolutely terrible. And thankfully we don't have a lot of it, but and this is one of the episodes where I think Worf actually is doing the right thing. Which is something that I don't normally say very often.
Yeah,
in
stop
Worf's
the press.
defense, it actually is kind of designed to be an absolute. That's kind of the whole point.
That's why it's
Yeah,
the Prime.
absolutely.
Directive.
Yeah. Hence the prime part of the directive. Yeah.
But they design it that way, but every single
Oh, yeah.
captain breaks it. So it's
Oh,
not
every
an
one of them.
absolute.
Every one of
because
them.
because it's not like these captains go and break the Prime Directive and then they're relieved of duty and not allowed to like basically be dishonorably discharged. They're just like, oh, you broke it? Oh, but everything's fine? Okay, carry on. Off to your next mission.
Actually, Sam
So-
brings up
so-
a really good point there. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
about this.
You blanked out, so I thought you were done. Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh,
I didn't see
mean
what
to
he
interrupt.
wrote because I was.
You mean I was trying to think what comment you wrote? The Wesley episode. This episode would have
Yeah.
made a good It is a Wesley episode.
It
is
is.
a Wesley episode.
He's the B
Yeah.
story.
He's the B story. It's
Well,
I guess it's
yeah.
a Data
I think
and
I-
Wesley
I,
episode.
I agree with him though that if he was the primary on this, I think it would be a little bit more
Right.
I-
because then you have his mother as part of the issue, right? So
The storyline itself and getting involved with her would have made more sense if it was anyone but Data. It being a Data episode doesn't make a lot of sense.
I agree.
The vibe.
I think
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I just think like this episode really made me think of the Star Trek Insurrection film and how Data.
So it's great, you're saying.
It's fucking
Well,
terrible, is what you're saying.
in the aspect that I especially don't like about that movie, which is the relationship with Data and
Rapey
that,
Data.
and that boy.
Yeah, rapey Data.
And I don't know. They like.
Whoa,
They're trying to
now.
make like Data and the kids is cute and I guess endearing to the audience, and I just never quite buy into that, or it's just not my kind of wholesome, loving, whatever. I don't know. I just doesn't quite work for me. I don't know why. It just Data and a kid is not that endearing. But I think
Data
it's
likes
meant to be.
kids.
I know, but that's nice. He should like kids, I guess. But
So do pedophiles.
well, I'm not saying he's a
Data's not supposed to
pedophile.
So
like
do,
anything.
like-
That's an emotion.
Well,
So,
Just say it.
you guys want to hear my big theory about this episode?
Sure.
Might as well bring it up now. Data knew exactly what he was doing. Data's been going rogue since season 2.
this is season 2. You mean so? It's the
He
beginning of the
like
season?
Data's really smart. Like there's 2 ways you can take this episode. One, it's very poorly written and it makes Data seem very kind of like careless and uncaring about duty and like a lot of my problems with the Data character are in these first couple seasons where the writing around him isn't particularly great. But you can take it another way in that he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly the position he's putting Picard in. He knows exactly what Picard will do once put in that position because he wants to save this young girl and really ultimately the planet. Data, I don't think is a believer in the Prime Directive.
Well, but he swore to uphold it as a member of Starfleet, right?
Oh, sure. But he's like, it's like the thing he says to Picard. He's just like, I thought you, sir, might have another way out of this. You know what I mean?
I was hoping you
Like,
might.
Yeah. Like Data believes in creative, like, okay, not just Data. I believe in this as well. If you're going to break the Prime Directive isn't about being an absolute. It's about, you have to find a really creative and effective way to break it. But like they did in this episode,
Which is what they do in
save
this
the people
episode.
without any of them knowing, except for this girl, and they erase her memory.
You tell O'Brien, you're going to sleep, O'Brien.
They-
You know?
They literally kidnap a girl and mess with her brain without her
Yeah.
consent.
No, she asked for their help.
She asked for their help,
Oh,
but not to have her
She
memory
asked
wiped.
for their help, but she didn't. Yeah. And I mean, they took her.
They-
She'd be
they
dead
took her
otherwise.
Off the planet.
They-
She'd be
they-
dead otherwise.
You could
Maybe
could
that's
consider
what
it
was
a
supposed to happen.
you
Perhaps.
could consider it a form of
If you're
kidnapping.
if you're
in a way.
a Prime Directive purist.
Well,
Maybe
I tend to
believe in
be
fate.
I tend to be a bit of a purist on the Prime Directive, but I do understand. We'll get to that scene where they're having in Picard's quarters where they debate the whole matter, which I think is really an
Yeah.
interesting conversation for different perspectives in that different thing. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on it before I forget. So in the scene where Wesley's talking to Pulaski, just outside before he goes into the room and he takes over the team. So the captain's log we get after that, it says, it has been 6 weeks since our entrance into this sector. Each system has revealed same disturbing geological upheavals on every planet. So yeah, there's like a big jump in the
So
middle.
Wesley's been working with this team for 6 weeks as
for
well.
6 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, we're not that old. We're,
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's fine.
well, we're not.
Ashley's like
Chickens.
22 or something. Like, it's,
Yeah. Forever.
the rest of us are old, I guess. But
Well, let's jump into the episode, everyone, and just recount everything that happens. So the Enterprise is surveying an
Like
area
a warm bath, we'll jump right into her.
of course, they're surveying an area of unexplored planets with an unusually short lifespans due to severe geological changes. And so they're looking along here, heading into the area. Meanwhile, down.
Fun fact: that's a theory on the Fermi paradox that most planets are just too geologically unstable to support life that can reach intelligence.
Well, that's fun.
This is my nitpick. This is my nitpick for the episode.
Go ahead.
Where is his saddle? Everyone knows that a serious rider has his own saddle. Is
That's
he not
In
a
there,
serious rider
waiting
yet?
for him.
Where
That's
He
not
is
already
established
had-
till Starship Mine.
He already had an ensign take it down to the transporter bay.
Exactly.
Maybe
doesn't
he
say
did.
Captain
No, he's going to
carries
the-
his own saddle.
He's going to the
But he
holodeck.
He doesn't. He clearly has his own pair of riding boots and whatever that stick thing is that they use to whip the horse or whatever. Prop. Yeah. So Deanna Troi
Prop.
walking along with Captain Picard as he's heading to the holodeck for his riding. She says, "I didn't think you liked animals." He was like, "Well, that's true,
Small
Not
animals,
small
no,
ones.
but horses.
but horses I love."
In
You
fact,
like
I
specifically
saw a
Earth
small horse
horses.
once, and I kicked it. I kicked
Yeah.
it, Deanna.
They're like, he's like, "I like to ride something." They're like, "What?" He's like,
Horse, earth horse.
"That's right." And then they want the breed. He goes with an Arabian Earth horse, not
Earth horse.
Earth horse.
None of them
Yeah,
Klingon
I
horses.
believe that Allah gathered the south wind and made the horse.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Klingon horses ride you.
Well, he just doesn't want one of those horses from the planet that Archer was on.
No.
Yeah, you don't want none of those.
Have you seen people try and ride those horses?
There's a saddle right there.
He's got the
There
saddle.
it is,
already-
waiting for him.
Somebody
The
already
saddle's
put the
already
saddle in
waiting
there.
for him. Some interesting
Jeez,
dialogue
When
here
he
with.
started
in.
the program, it was just in the holodeck.
It's just already
a
there.
Saddle
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
holodeck
Yeah,
before he even started the program.
But it would have been on the floor, right? And would have like
Yep.
had to have lifted up and
They
It
can make
rose
things
upon
move
the
up.
pillar.
right.
It's fine.
Troy says, "You like the horses, do you?"
So you like horses for the romance?
Oh, it goes deeper than that. A fine war horse would sleep in a Bedouin's tent, carry him into battle, feed his children with the milk. There's a bond which is created by mutual need. Hello, beautiful.
Want to hear
Hello.
another theory I have about this episode? Really more about Picard.
Yep.
The relationship he wants with his crew is the same way he just described that horse. He wants them to love him and sleep with him.
And
show
drink
them
his
He
milk.
wants to
loyalty.
drink milk from them.
Yes, but also he wants to whip them and ride them into submission.
Right.
That's why
It's
that's why he
symbiotic,
doesn't like
really.
kids. They steal
Yep.
all his milk.
Yeah. He doesn't like the small ones, but
if Justin is watching or listening right now, thanks, Justin.
it's Jack's Law saying here: if all life on the holodeck was time travel, it's not about time. The range of the matter in a non-paradox to be found. There's no paradox to be found.
Well, not inside the holodeck. No, there wouldn't be.
No. So I don't know. Troy, talking to Picard about and how much he loves horse riding, but as he's just about to get started, he gets a call from Commander Riker. And we need you on the bridge. There's some crazy stuff happening up here. Can you please come up? And poor Picard has to.
He's
stop
like,
what
I'm
he's
riding my Earth horse. I mean,
I got an
horses."
Earth horse. You know. We head up to the bridge where Picard is. He's not going to the bridge with those riding boots on.
I think
put
you
his
should have.
uniform. I think he should have too. But he
Uniform
changed-
and riding boots.
yeah,
Both.
just a combination. And
Just
we
to
see-
make sure everybody feels uncomfortable that they've interrupted his horse riding.
Exactly. We see there's the planets in the area have all this like they're all lava planets, geologically unstable. That we're told that this planet used to be have life on ecosystem, and now it's gone. In the dialogue,
Is anyone else surprised that he didn't pick a French or British horse?
You went for Arabian. I don't know.
He did.
He went
Well,
for a British. He went for a British tack though.
He did go for British tack. That's true.
Yeah.
And you don't
Which
want a
those
French
Arabian
horse.
horses.
You don't want a
much
French
care
horse
for.
because they only go backwards. It's fine.
All right. So that's our teaser for the episode. It's kind of a. I don't know how much it really pulls you in. It's
It
like,
doesn't.
hey, We're in
all.
we're in a region where planets are going lava.
And
that's
on
all
top
we're
of that,
told.
I didn't get to see Picard actually ride a horse. So
You will.
You
Don't
will.
worry. But it's
I
a
know.
stunt man. But get ready.
you ruined the illusion.
Like, well, he'll come in at the end. Get our title card for the episode, Pen Pals. As the
And this is
Enterprise-
where it goes downhill, right here.
from here on.
Yep, the name, automatic.
You don't like the name?
No, stupid.
Did you ever have a pen pal, Jody?
I did not.
I did. My cousin.
Me
was my
too,
pen pal.
in like grade 3 or something. I think from Australia.
Oh, yeah. My cousin Natalie and I were pen pals of sorts. We would write letters to each other.
You never wrote to me.
No, you never wrote to me either. So
Fair.
You guys
Yeah.
need a minute, or
Well, we're sorting through this.
Yeah,
So-
we're getting through it.
Anyway, so then in the boardroom, Commander Riker's meeting, and he's like, "Hey, I want to put Wesley in charge of the geological survey of these planets. That's a big job," Pulaski says. "Are you sure? Are we ready to thrust him into such a big job?"
why don't they ever have proper lighting in this room?
They're very dark in this room. In this,
I think you
section.
mean on this show.
Well, the lighting.
No, because on the bridge it's like super bright. But
Yeah.
here, not so much.
This is the
You
dark
can't have a
room.
bunch of bright light in the room, then you can't see the stars. It's the observation room. They're observing the stars.
That's true. Yeah, good point.
It's a
There you
little
go.
darker in this.
I knew
season.
you'd have an answer, Ashley.
Yeah.
More so.
So I
Light
she's the emerald.
pollution.
So anyway, so they wanted this to help further Wesley as an officer. So they're like, "Well, we're gonna do it." So they call him in. He's as he's on the bridge when they're having this discussion.
Why are
Data
they
gives him-
Why are they furthering him as an officer? He hasn't even been to Starfleet Academy.
No, they say they're preparing him for the academy. But
Okay.
like that's what I mean. Like they're
This
like
is cheating. Like
they're
the amount
way ahead.
Like there's no
Like-
way that every cadet that's going to Starfleet Academy the year he's going is getting this kind of prep.
No, but they comment on that too. Like the other students are jealous of him because he got all this stuff.
Yeah, like he gets to really the idea that he even needs to go to the academy after doing a lot of this is kind of redundant to me. But anyway, yeah, he's definitely getting fast tracked. He's getting like sort of a prep school education here on the Enterprise, and he shows up here, and they're like, "We're putting you in charge of the survey, Wesley." What? Gosh, that's so exciting! I won't let you down. Gee willikers. Everything else. That's my Wesley impression.
I think that's a direct quote.
Yeah.
Gee willikers.
It should have been at least.
Yeah, something.
Jiminy
along those lines.
Jillikers.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So they're like, "Well, get to work. This is a serious assignment, ensign. You better be, bring in some good work and get it together." Picard tells them. So we have expectations here. Now, so we're gonna get this going. They kind of say, "Good job, Wesley, and don't let us down." I think that's mostly the text of the scene. Then we go over to our A plot, which is Data, who's on the computer here at the science station, checking out the signals in the area. He's making a mess on the bridge. Is the bottom line here, leaving all these chips all over the ground, and Worf does not like it.
Number one, I don't buy that he would do this to begin with.
I don't either. Like the way
Yeah.
they write data is
Those
so
are-
inconsistent and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in the first 2 seasons, he's really inconsistent. But
Like every
why
writer
would
just
an
wants to
android
play
just
with
throw
data.
that
and
everywhere? Like that doesn't
it's-
make any sense.
It doesn't help the character. They needed an overarching editor to be like, no, you can't have data do that. Like
You can't. Data would not.
I know
be
you want
messy.
to play with the toys in the sand in the tool.
Like if they were meticulously in little piles, then I could gather that maybe. But
Yeah.
and on top of that, like what about the static electricity? Like these are isolinear chips. Are they not susceptible to that? Like
They have shielding. I
like
don't
this this whole bloody bridge is like Hilton carpeted. So it's like it's there's got to be some static electricity.
I gotta say though, like he leaves all this on the floor. Worf trips and steps on these things. It's not proper.
No.
Not what a Navy man would do. The other thing, just before, because I'm just noticing it here in the shot that Worf has that yellow flare on his on the edge of his pants. We're gonna lose that in season 3 when they go to the new uniform. It will just go black all the way down. And
Well, that's just a shame.
It is just a shame. I like that little division color.
Well,
embellishment.
realistically, this is TV. How many times are you going to watch their legs?
Well,
So-
sometimes when Worf is stepping on things, you're going to notice. And that's, but anyway, we'll talk about the new uniforms when they come up in season 3. Anyway, but Worf, steps on this. Data kind of apologizes, says he'll clean it up. And Worf's like, good, you better, even though you definitely outrank me and I shouldn't be talking to you like this, but whatever.
Yeah, but he doesn't like disorder, and he doesn't put up with no bullshit on the bridge.
No.
It
Worf,
doesn't matter who you are.
Worf's pretty disciplined.
He tells the captain and Riker they're acting a fool sometimes too. Like, he's just like, I don't like any of this.
I don't like it. Everyone sucks but me, Captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, then Wesley somehow finds Deanna and Will Riker just walking along here. He's like, can we walk with you and talk? He's like, they're free. He's like, what, walking or advice? Both. Wesley wants to talk about who he's picking for his team. I don't know, a bunch of science officers. I'm thinking about
Free
this one.
advice is seldom cheap. I'll find what rule of acquisition that is.
Right. But Wesley's talking about working with people who are older than him, who are more, already officers. That could this be a problem? And they're saying no, they're professionals. They'll easily they'll do what they need to do. That's their job. That's what they're trained to do. Just figure it out.
I'm sure they're not, they're not caring for the privileged snot-nosed punk that's showing up, but whatever.
It's not nose punk, eh?
Yeah, well, he's a punk.
He's a
You
punk.
get,
But he's
yeah,
also like immaculately clean. There's definitely no snot on that boy.
No snot. He's snot free. His mom makes sure. She's
What
a
about
doctor.
Snod?
Maybe Snodgrass.
Snodgrass, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
perhaps.
acting like snot is a bad thing.
Snodgrass kid. We'll call him. Anyway, so then the Enterprise goes along here. I don't know, a couple exterior shots. This is the first guy that Wesley goes to see. He's like a geologist, I guess.
Yeah, he's a dick too.
He's kind of a dick, yeah.
Is he? He's just trying to help him.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like,
not at the
In a
beginning
dick
though.
way.
nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Well,
in a dick way.
And Wesley's like, I want you on my team. He's like, who else do you want on the team? And he names off these 2 other people. And he goes, oh, I wish you talked to me first. I don't like working with married couples. It can be a problem, which I guess the other 2 people he wanted to pull in are married. I didn't think about that. So I don't know. Like this guy in particular is the most.
Shouldn't have to think about that.
He's given. He
According to Will.
and he's clearly meant to only be a little bit older than Wesley. I think he's
Number 59.
Free advice is good thing you have your rules of acquisition there. It's a bestseller,
It's handy.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're bringing him in, but there's a little. This guy is kind of causing Wesley to doubt some of his decisions already off the bat.
Well, he's pissed off too because like Wesley's bugging him while he's trying to take a nice big bong rip there.
What was he? Why is he was vaporizing rocks or something in this little tube?
Yeah,
It is a bit clean, so it's, I
then
don't know that it's a
and
weed
then-
bong.
Could be. It could be like
Not
a
yet.
big old rock.
But he's like huffing dilithium crystals.
He's huffing them. Anyway.
Will get you warp speeding.
Meanwhile, Data's back on the bridge, looking at those signals. He's able to kind of he's asking the computer, "Are these natural signals?" And they're like, "Nope." Is there a pattern? Yes. And they're able to kind of.
This
focus.
is one thing that's always bugged me about Star Trek, though, is, well, especially in this series, because instead of just looking at the information on the screen and coming to a deduction, he has to ask the computer what the answer is when he's pretty much the exact same speed as the computer of the Enterprise. So it's like, why do you need to ask anything? Like, I can understand the humans doing that, but like, why does he need to ask? He should have already figured it out.
Well, the answer is it's a TV show, and they're trying to explain things to us as the audience. But
It's always rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know.
yeah, because
There's
you're right.
probably neater ways to do that, but it's like in this instance, it would be him talking to himself to do it.
Yeah,
which
like,
he
at
does
this point,
sometimes.
like,
They
what?
just have Data just like talking to himself, and that's how you get your exposition. But
And we hear eventually within the static, it sounds like, a girl, and then he says yes, which presumably the question was, is there anybody out there? So he answers the question. Then we
Just nod if you can hear me.
nod. Then we have this scene here where Wesley's getting ready to go in to talk to his team for the first time, but he's not walking through the door right away. Pulaski finds him here. And tries to give some encouragement that he's going to be able to do this, that the team believes in you, the senior officers, Captain Picard, Commander Riker. But Wesley's still doubting himself. Like, why would they listen to me? I'm younger and not as experienced as they are.
Why would Pulaski even talk to him?
Because she's nice.
She's not as bad as you think.
She's not like. No offense to Gates McFadden, she has great episodes too, but she would have overacted the crap out of this scene if this was her.
Well, this would have been her son too. It would have been a different context.
But her relationship with Wesley never really worked. They never quite figured out how to act that. It just she was always strange towards him. He always seemed to be sort of like, I don't know, like strangely attracted or something to her. I don't know. It's just weird. It didn't really work.
I don't know what's happening.
If I was standing in front of her, Beverly was hot.
Yeah.
I don't know
but
this conversation, guys.
I don't know. It just it doesn't work. Like when you see their scenes together, they just never work, and that's why they don't write them scenes. Like she complained that they didn't write scenes with her son character and her. But
yeah, we're right.
They work.
There's not a ton between Wesley and Beverly. Well, I guess we got
which
a
is
little
a
bit
good thing.
In Star Trek Prodigy. They got a little bit, right?
But like him and Riker scenes are always way better. Riker always. Him and Will Wheaton had a lot of chemistry, I felt like.
Yeah, and also Wesley Crusher and Guinan, or Wesley Crusher and even Captain Picard, certainly. You know, it seemed like they were trying to make her like the Pulaski the mom surrogate, and at this point they don't know that Gates McFadden's going to come back to the show, right? That doesn't happen until I think it happens between season 2 and 3 that they finally negotiate to bring her back. So anyway, they're trying to establish that. But anyway, so Wesley goes in to meet with his room after a little bit of encouragement here for Pulaski. So then, as I mentioned already, this is like 6 weeks later. They're still doing the surveys, and they're going through the sector. We catch up here with Wesley and the team. Wesley says he wants to do like a kind of an analysis on something. And this geologist guy that gives him a hard time earlier, he's like, no, we're not going to, that would take forever to do. Like, that's going to take like 5 hours. And he's like, well, I want to be thorough. And he's like, there's being thorough. And then there's being tedious or extra about it, right?
Let's just call this guy Ensign Sidebangs.
Side bags.
Well, what do you think of... what do you think of this other one on the team, in the yellow shirt?
Pulaski's haircut.
I was about to say, let's just call her Yellow Pulaski.
That's actually Pulaski's daughter. Just to tell you.
Did she steal Pulaski's wig and then like it's red?
She's like, put it on me now.
It was the late '80s, early '90s. That's just what
they didn't know
did.
any better.
Hairspray.
The hole in the ozone layer was caused by this very scenario we see in front of us.
And I don't get it because like this doesn't look good. Like, but this is what we were just putting the hole in the ozone layer for.
Anyway. This is it.
Well,
no, it didn't look good. Go back and look at your parents' like high school.
I think the beehives from the 50s probably did more of that, but.
Yeah, but specifically this 80s hair that so many women were rocking at the time.
That ozone layer hole's healing, by the way.
Well, good, because we got rid of this hairstyle.
Exactly right.
It all
now people use pomade like civilized people.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so there's being thorough, and then there's being like over the top or like extra about it. So Wesley's like, I think we should do the analysis, but this team is making me. What is he saying, Mike? That's the '90s Baptist Sunday school teacher hair. Yes.
Yeah. Look at me in my side bang, Wesley. Look at me when I talk to you.
Respect the side bang.
So we see Wesley kind of gets talked out of going through what he wants to do, his command decision. So he kind of walks off a little despondent. Then back up on the bridge, we see here Data's, I guess, having more conversations with Sarjenka, but a lot of that's kind of not explained to us quite yet, what's exactly happening. But Worf notices that Data kind of goes off here. He's like, "Where's he going? What's he? He's so weird. That guy sometimes.
That guy's an idiot.
Data decides he's gonna go see Captain Picard, who finally got to go riding. Everybody, he got to ride that horse, Earth horse. It's clearly a stuntman for those wide shots to me. And then I think this is Patrick Stewart coming up here, so they let him ride the horse a little bit. As we see,
He does ride horses.
He does ride horses. I just think
He did all of the riding and
Patrick Stewart
generations.
rides horses.
I know he
Hey
does.
guys,
Yeah.
is this the Hen Pals review?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just think
Why
that
the
they
hell do you have a chicken in your house?
I have a bunch of chickens in my house.
they call him the Chicken Man.
Well, that explains some things.
They blew up that
Pen
Chicken
pals,
Man in
right?
Philly last night.
All right, let's get out of here.
Anyway, Data likes horses, kinda. Even holographic ones.
He doesn't like anything.
Oh, right, he doesn't like anything.
Technically.
Anyway, so Data wants to talk to Picard. He's like, I need your advice. Picard goes, it must be important for you to interrupt my holodeck time. He goes, oh, it is. We got some serious things to talk about.
It would have been better if he said it with more of an attitude, though.
Yeah. And so
Like,
Data,
yeah, it must be important. Jerk.
yeah. So Data explains that a
Whoa,
couple
look at
weeks
that
ago.
tight ass, eh?
Yeah, he's clenching there too, isn't he?
Clenching hard. Woo! That's making me sweat. Just look at it.
So Data kind of explains this whole situation to Captain Picard, that he made contact with this young girl named Sarjenka. He's been talking to her for over this month, but he never told her that he's an alien or like an android or whatever. But Picard, you just see like Picard gets slowly more disappointed with Data as this conversation goes on. Am I missing something? No.
The comment.
That's my riding muscle, Data.
Every serious rider has one.
Yeah.
Serious rider, yeah. Well, I always wondered why there was like a cone shape in his saddle. I now know.
Yeah, exactly why.
Yeah.
So but by the end of this, so Data explains the situation with her Sarjenka, that the planet's dying, that he hasn't broken the Prime Directive exactly, but he's kind of bent it a bit here, at least, by making contact, and he orders Data, no more contact, cut it off right away, right now. We're gonna have to figure this out. So he sends Data off here, and then we get a transition where we go to 10 forward, where Commander Riker is schmoozing up this woman, a science
dude
division
is
officer.
hardcore.
Yeah.
We should like take a tally of how many like random ensigns and stuff he schmoozes in 10 forward, because
I bet you somebody already has a list.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every option of the hour, basically.
He's the personnel guy. That's his job.
That's true. Yeah.
Like,
He's gonna get to know the staff, especially the female ones, because they need
staff,
special attention.
Well, they're getting it. So anyway.
Well, he doesn't have to concentrate on the male staff. Troy's got that.
Yeah, right. They're such a good team.
Anyway, well, Riker has to get her another drink. So he goes to the bar, and then Wesley shows up to ruin his date, ruin his vibe here with this woman. He's like, "What's up, Wesley?" He's like, "I need to talk to you over here. Please come." This guy at the
Actually,
bar.
you know what? This isn't even the first time Wesley pulls Riker away from a table with a lady either. Like that keeps happening.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So, Dave, there actually is a section on the internet for this, and the total count is 47.
Wow, is it really?
But that does include, according to Dave, non-canon books as well.
No, how many non-canons? Yeah. So he's like, "Hold on, honey, I need to go talk to Wesley Crusher for a minute." And I don't know. So he's like,
"You just have another drink, sweetheart. I'll be back."
Check this out. I'm totally the parenting type.
Watch me sit down on this chair, Riker maneuver style, which he totally does here.
You see how Wesley sat down on his chair?
Not like
Watch
that.
me. Watch me.
Yeah, Riker being Riker. That's what
Ironically,
he's
he rubs his balls on this chair, but there's also these balls on the table. That's interesting. Tell me that wasn't.
Good
Those balls
observation.
on the table.
Thank you.
And-
That's why you bring me in, Dave. Is for these observations.
And they're uneven, just like Riker's. So
Actually,
yeah,
I want to know what these balls are for. Why are they just taking up table space? Is that the salt and pepper shaker?
If it is, that's incredible. You'll never run out.
unclear. I don't think I've ever noticed those before, but yeah,
It's gelatin parsley.
yeah, maybe. So Riker says, "Tell me your problems, Wesley. What's up?" Well, I asked the ensign to run the analysis for me, and then he told me no. What am I supposed to think? It would be a bad idea. He's like, "Well, did you think that was the right idea?" No. And Riker has to explain to him the thing about command and why it's a difficult thing to do. In your position, there's one important question to ask.
In your position, it's important to ask yourself one question. What would Picard do?
What would Picard?
He said that to many a lady.
Yeah. He would clench his buns and come in.
That's right.
Horse, Earth horse.
You got it.
Horse, Earth horse. Anyway.
But I do like this conversation where Wesley's like, "Well, yeah, Captain Picard would get everyone's opinions and then make up his own mind." And he's like, "And does anyone argue with Picard once he's made up his mind?" He goes, "No way. Why? Because he's Captain Picard." Well, he's like, "It's not really any different. They'll respond to you." Then Picard gets called.
It is different though. The captain has a higher rank than everyone else on the ship, and Wesley has no rank.
Rank at all.
acting ensign.
Yeah, acting.
Yeah, but he doesn't even have a pip.
He
Yeah,
outrank.
no
He technically kind of outranks O'Brien, but sort of, because he's technically an officer. Anyway, so Riker gets called away to
He's
Picard's.
not though. If he hasn't been to Starfleet Academy, I don't think he's actually an officer.
But he's
And that's not exactly true either, because like in a crisis situation, like the chief of operations is pretty high up there, even if they aren't like an officer.
They're enlisted. I don't know. Like they're high up there, but I don't know. It's technically an officer still at rank.
Well, realistically, everybody who doesn't have a pip is an enlisted officer.
Like, remember that episode, that courtroom episode, and the lawyer asked O'Brien if Worf was incapacitated, could you have taken command? And he's like, I would have.
Yeah, but Mike's right. Yeah, right. Wesley's in charge of the team, regardless of rank. It's his assignment. So they do have to do what he says, but he also has to tell them what to do.
And they have specialists and stuff too. Like, I'm sure there's like specialist ensigns that a lot of these lieutenants and stuff have had to like work under and stuff before.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, like, rank may not always be the most important thing, depending on what the assignment is. But anyway, so he leaves Wesley with that advice as Riker goes off, and he gives a little whisper here to his lady friend.
He also leaves the beer there for Wesley too. I thought that was pretty manly of him.
Mm-hmm. It's like, drink
He's
this
like,
beer.
drink this. You're underage, but drink it anyway.
Yeah. So
Put some of this salt around the rim of the glass, Wesley.
What does Riker say to this woman? What do you think Riker says to this woman as he's leaving?
He's like, my place, 10 minutes. I'll already be ready.
No, he says,
I'll get the oil. You bring the body.
Just think, what would Picard do?
What would Picard do?
This table has a boob on it.
It does. It has a little nipple on top too.
It's like a cloche, you could say.
What
There
is
could have been a
going on
dessert
in
under
this
there.
10 forward?
There's balls on one
Is this-
table, nipples on others.
Is this single
There's
night?
the balls in a vase on the one in the back there.
I'll be programming an amazing escapade for you.
Let me show you the Riker
Here is
ring.
this high.
Hi, Trek reviewer.
Hi, Trek reviewer.
Anyway, so now Wesley, he's all pumped up. He's like, he goes in, he says, I do want that analysis. And this guy's like, okay, sure. Like, that's all you
Okay,
need.
so this bothers me because literally this guy gives Wesley nothing but shit, and then Wesley walks in and goes, "No, I want it this way." He's like, "Okay,
okay.
no
I know
thought."
I told,
just,
I know
"Okay."
I told you I didn't want to do this thing for 5 hours, but I'll do it.
So what actually happened was when Riker left, Riker went down there and kicked this guy's ass, and he's like, "You're gonna fucking listen to Wesley, and that's all there is to it."
Yeah, Wesley wants
And
his
now I'm gonna
intro
go get
analysis.
laid. Now I'm gonna go get laid in holodeck 4.
No, Will Riker has to head to the quarters. Anyway, it's like Wesley gives an order and then he says okay, and he's like, "Wow, that was easy." You know.
Do you think when Riker's doing the deed, he's just like, call me Jean-Luc?
No.
Call me Picard.
You're so bad. Okay, let's get serious here. We got Prime Directive to talk about as we head into this next scene. So we're talking about Data.
This conversation is better than this episode.
Yeah, Picard's saying, whatever Data did, it's over now. We have to figure out this for ourselves. The dilemma
He
exists.
knew what
Dilemma
this
exists.
panel would become.
We have to discuss the options, and please talk freely.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, so here's the thing about this. Then we're talking about the philosophy of the Prime Directive in this scene, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing about that. I think it's entirely reasonable to, not only reasonable, but preferable to always act within the confines of best philosophy. However, there are times, like they're doing in this room, where you have to debate philosophy. And there are also other times where there is no time to debate philosophy. It's more of a like a Cisco thing to say. It's just, I would say, we're just like, look, we'll do what we got to do, and we'll debate the philosophy of it later. Because sometimes that's just how you have to do things. This is one of these cases.
It hurts me, but all I can say is Worf is the smartest person in this room right now.
This is often the case.
Well, because he's like, it's an absolute. Go ahead.
I think Captain Picard is, and a lot of the captains are a little bit more like Barbossa from Pirates. It's more of a guideline than a rule.
It's a directive. Yeah, it's supposed to be their most important law.
But they always break it.
Well, yeah, not mostly. Here, this discussion I think is important. So I have a sound clip we can have a listen to.
What we do today may profoundly affect the future. If we could see every possible outcome,
We'd be gods, which we're not. If there is a cosmic plan, is it not the height of hubris to think that we can or should interfere?
So what are you saying? That the Dremons are fated to die?
I think that's an option that we should be considering.
Consider it considered and rejected.
If there is a cosmic plan, are we not a part of it? Our presence
Yeah,
at this place at this moment in time could be a part of that fate.
Right, and it could be part of that plan that we interfere.
Well, that eliminates
Riker is
the possibility
laissez-faire.
of fate.
But, Commander, the Dremons are not a subject for philosophical debate. They are a people.
Right.
Riker's
so,
like Stephen Harper in Starfleet. He's very laissez-faire.
Well,
it's an old Canadian politics reference for our American and international listeners, but
it's interesting to me that all of these like academy graduates who have all like had to think about the Prime Directive in various forms, they're still having this debate amongst themselves that there are many ways of looking at it. That it's not just about philosophy as Data puts out. There's real lives on the line here.
What I would ask Riker is, why do anything?
Well, Riker's like, what about the galactic plan and fate and all this? The other thing too, though,
his idea of fate is to never do anything ever, because everything is fated. So if you actually make an active decision to do something, you're fucking with fate. So I don't see what his point is at all.
Well, and neither does Geordi. Geordi says, I've considered what you said and rejected it. Basically,
That's my favorite line in the episode. Geordi's line there.
Considered and rejected. Yeah. I just want to also point out that this is one of the only meeting of the senior officers that I have ever seen catered, where they actually have to get up and go get tea and
they're
canopies.
in Picard's room.
I didn't know he served canopies and
is this
tea.
Picard's room?
This is his quarters. Yeah,
this is his quarters.
And he's like, and so yeah, like at one point Geordi goes up to get like a drink, and I think also Pulaski does. It's kind of a fun scene in that way. Anyway, and so they get into it, and Picard also says, well, let's talk about the Prime Directive and when is it okay to break it and when is it not okay to break it?
So we make an exception of the deaths of millions.
Yes.
And is it the same situation if it's an epidemic and not a geological calamity?
Absolutely.
What about a war? If generations of conflict is killing millions, do we interfere? Oh, well, we're all a little less secure in our moral certitude. And what if it's not just killings? If an oppressive government is enslaving millions? See, the Prime Directive has many different functions, not the least of which is to protect us. To prevent us from allowing our emotions to overwhelm our judgment.
Thoughts?
I think geology is the thing they should maybe most interfere with, because anything else, whether like a plague, maybe less so, but most of the other things they're going to run into are going to be more, well, even so a plague based on their habits and stuff, are going to be caused by that society. Like they can't, their planet's going to explode. That has nothing to do with them. Like that's not like not the fault of the people or the species on the planet. But
Right.
like, you know, like
Yeah, but
whether
they-
you
they
should save
don't-
a species from destroying themselves is another thing.
They don't know, though, that by saving the species that they're not now dooming something that could have happened after them. What if they had come across, like if a species, like if a federation had existed millions of years ago and they saw that a natural disaster was going to happen on Earth, oh, we have to save these dinosaurs, millions could die, and then the humans never exist.
Well, yeah, though that's like the kind of the anti-abortion debate too. It's just like you can't kill a baby.
Absolutely.
It could be Mozart.
It's 100%, but that's something that will be debated until the end of time.
Right.
True,
Well, I guess,
but I think we've all like taken our line on that particular issue as well.
Yeah, well, but I think like so, like
Come on
if
the
there's
side
a
of-
natural disaster, like where it's a geological disaster or a plague, you might be way more comfortable with going in and interfering, right, and intervening. But if he's like, what if it's an internal conflict, a social that's the internal affairs of a society are their business, and that's the other value the Federation has, is that we don't have a right to go in and say, well, this is what we believe in, so therefore you have to do it our way. So
This could be a planet of Hitlers. We don't know.
Well, you don't know what this society will grow into. It could be the greatest, or it could be bad. But I think like what he's also saying is like it's to kind of take the emotion out of it to a degree. It seems like maybe a Vulcan wrote the Prime Directive, maybe more than
I would also
anybody.
suggest what a people have been is more relevant than what they could be in such a
true.
determination.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if this
If they have been Hitler, maybe don't save them. But like to say, well, maybe they
They
could
don't.
could
They
be
don't
anything.
check for that. They don't check and see if this is a.
Yeah, for all you know, this is an oppressive
They know one
planet
little
who
girl.
has taken
Sarjenka seems
taken
very
out
nice.
thousands of people, millions of planets they've overruled, and yet, this is what's happening.
Yeah,
If
we
I'm
don't.
Team
Well,
Data on this one. I would have saved the little girl.
well, that's what they want.
I'm
but
Team Worf, and it hurts me to say that.
ultimately, Worf's like, well, it matters to Data, but it doesn't matter to me. And I think Pulaski calls Worf a coward in this
She
debate.
says it's a cowardly opinion.
Yeah, a little bit
Which is a
cowardly.
dumb line.
But ultimately, Data kind of looks over to Picard and goes,
Not really, because he's disengaging with all nuance and all information. He's just like, this is an absolute. Let's not even hear any of the information. It is a bit cowardly. It's like,
it's the
you
rules
have
are rules.
Conviction of if you believe in your convictions, then you should be able to debate it.
Worf has always
True.
been black and white. He doesn't really see shades of gray in these types of conversations.
There are no options.
Those fire torpedoes are like, are we even working? Like, what are we doing here?
I
Exactly.
suggest we kill it. That's always his solution.
Kill the
Just
baby.
kill it.
Let's eat it. Anyway, so ultimately, Data is ordered to sever communication with Sarjenka, right? Like, we're not doing this. Ultimately, Picard wants to toe the line and follow the Prime Directive, so he orders Data to open the channel and disconnect it. And then we hear the voice of Sarjenka, Data, where are you, Data? Please save me. That's my impression.
It was good.
And,
It's close, yeah.
and as they're listening to her voice here on the thing, Data's about to cut it off, and then Picard says, "Stop! That's a plea for help. We now have to intervene. We can't ignore."
What's our Jenka impression is?
No, I need to have really long fingers too. So, don't leave me here, Data. So we got it. So Picard's like, fine. This is not. I'm not happy about it, but we're intervening. We're gonna do the right thing, and we're gonna try to establish communication and tell her.
We still got 30 minutes left of this episode. We got to do this.
Do we?
See, that's what I mean
No.
about like the point I was making earlier. Like, did just hearing a voice change any like of the philosophy that was in Picard's mind on this issue? No, but hearing the voice created an urgency where he's like, "Okay, we'll discuss the philosophy later."
And
Well,
why the
the
hell is
emotions came
Sideburns
back.
That's
here?
what happened.
What the hell is he doing there?
He's the
You do
geologist.
Banks.
He's here because he's part of
Yeah.
Wesley's team, and Wesley's team's here to talk about can we
Oh,
save
yeah, okay.
can we save
I
the
remember
planet?
that.
Can we save Sarjenka's planet? And basically Wesley's answer is like, maybe we think we have a theory that we might be able to save it. I'm guessing
That's the part
that
that's insane, though. Their team is trying to just save the planet, and they put the kid in charge. That's like it's just
he was already in charge, and they're not going to take that away from him. I guess this is the husband and wife couple.
Wesley's already saved the universe by this point. It's fine.
Like probably like 10 times. He was like the
Yeah.
MacGuffin in season 1.
Yeah, this guy with anyway. So they think that they have a solution, but they're not really sure. They need to figure that. So they send Wesley and his team off to continue working on that. And then Picard says, "How's Data doing?" And Riker goes, "Oh, well, Data's just listening to Sarjenka nonstop, but he's not talking to her. He's just listening. He's trying to monitor the communications. He wants to tell her where the safest place on the planet to go would be, etc."
Furthering on your point, Ashley, he saved the universe drunk.
Yep.
Yeah,
he sure did.
Sober Wesley can totally lead a team.
Right.
You'd think.
But I did like here where Picard, he says, hey, number one, you know how deep we are now, and he goes like this, like up to his neck, showing like we're up almost up to our eyeballs in sort of issues, like like court-martial kind of level offenses here for interference, So Riker goes, yeah, up to our necks at the moment. We see the overhead shot of the planet here, and then Data's talking or listening, I guess, in his quarters to Sarjenka. Up here, Worf and that woman with the hairspray. She's here again, and
I like her hair.
Yeah, I guess they came up with the plan. The plan to save the planet involves torpedoes, so they're has to work.
So Worf is all in it now. He's like, okay, I'll shoot.
If I can fire some torpedoes, I'm okay with breaking this prime directive. I'll tell you. So,
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
This is fine.
You mean you punctured a hole in your atmosphere just for your hairstyle? That's the most odd thing I've ever.
Exactly. And so Data then shows up, and he goes, "Hey, Captain, I want permission to beam down to the planet." And Picard's just like, "What? You want to beam down? Like."
You're kind of pushing it.
You need to cut off communication, all of it.
I told you it could be but I guess Data was allowed to tell her where to go, where the safe place was on the planet was. And even here, Riker's like, Data, you're crossing the line. You took the class where we had to learn Prime Directive back at the Academy. It was like you probably passed it.
Well, he's got the whole document accessible to himself, so.
True.
He's probably got like a PDF in his memory.
Data's point was, hey, Captain, didn't you order me to deliver the message, of where to go, where the safest place on the planet was? And Picard's like, yeah. He's like, well, then let me deliver the message. And so Picard goes, okay, but if anyone sees you, you beam out right away. That's how it's gonna go. So
all the more reason why insurrection shouldn't have happened.
And once Picard agrees to this, he signals to Riker. Now we're in over our heads. Like now we're really.
No, he's secretly signaling because he's like, "Get me her hairstylist."
Yeah, I want that Sally Jesse Raphael wig. Can you make it happen?
Give me some red glasses, damn it.
I'm passing out from the fumes.
Anyway, so Picard's left drinking his tea. Takes quite the gulp here as he's
Good old swig of tea. Yeah. It wasn't hot, I'll tell you that. It wasn't Earl Grey hot.
So then they come down here to the transporter room where O'Brien is working, and he's like, "Get out of here, O'Brien! You're taking a nap."
Right, sir. I'll just be standing over here dozing off.
Right.
He won't leave though. He's just like, I'm actually not going to leave. I'm going to make sure you guys aren't fucking around with my transporter room.
It's also Riker. Like, Riker, are you even certified for this thing? Like,
he's certified.
I don't know.
Yeah, no problem here. So anyway, he says, "You got 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes, Data," and that's it. So he beams down Data, and then Riker gets called away right away. And goes,
I just woke up, sir.
"I just woke up. No problem. I'll have him."
No problem, sir. I'll have him out of there as smooth as ice.
He really is the
TNG, he was the best.
You know what? O'Brien really is the true hero. He really is.
He always is.
He's the hero nobody deserves.
Right. Yeah. So Data beams down to the planet. He starts scanning around. I guess we see some of Sarjenka's dolls and her radio transmitter here that she's left here.
Those are the people in the souls that she's enslaved because she's evil.
You don't trust Sarjenka?
Theory. It's a theory.
No, not at all.
She only comes from the Hell planet, so what do you got to worry about?
Exactly.
I like that the door opened up with this like kind of holding your hand up to it, and then the wall would disappear, and then the door would open up. It's an okay effect.
Yeah.
And we see that this is a spicy planet, everybody, a little red. That geological.
Okay, it's a red planet. Get the fuck off. You know this is bad.
Well, they're gonna solve it with photon torpedoes. Don't worry.
Think about it. Every sci-fi flick you've ever seen, when the planet's red or it has lava on it, it's bad. Like Revenge of the Sith, bad planet.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
It's not red. It will be a slightly duller shade of red once they save the day. So he closes the door here. He's looking at whatever this thing is, Sarjenka's art. But
It's
then
awful, whatever it is. It's absolutely.
That's
awful.
the vessel that holds the souls.
Yeah, perhaps. Anyway, Sarjenka then shows up. I guess we're introduced to her here as she's come back. She's got those long fingers.
I bet you she can play a good piano.
First she comes in and she doesn't notice Data, or she doesn't seem to, and then she's trying to grab that transmitter, but then Data goes, "Hey, it's me," but she's scared of him. He goes, "No, it's me. It's Data."
If you saw a tall, pale dude just in your room randomly, yeah, you'd be a little scared.
Well, not when she knows it's her friend
Oh
Data.
my god, she's hideous.
She's cute.
Oh, she's hideous.
She looks a little sweaty, but
This is a space redheaded stepchild. That's what this is.
It's hot today. Give her a break. And so
a planet of aliens that took their cocaine nails
and took their what?
to the
nth evolution.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Data says we can't stay here. It's not safe. We got to get you out. He closes the door, and he decides he's going to save her. He's going to beam her out of there, which he's definitely not authorized to do. But he can't leave her here to potentially die. So he's like, we're going to beam up to the stars, and he kind of reveals to her that he's a spaceman, or a space android rather.
And kidnapping.
And kidnapping, going along here.
She'll soon have another soul.
But where are her parents?
Her parents
They
are
left.
out
They
taking
left.
over another planet.
They left. She only came back to get the transmitter.
She came back to get the transmitter, and then
Yeah, we're
Data
fine with
kidnapped
that.
Well,
Maybe
it's not.
Maybe they don't know. Maybe she ran off.
She's a bit of a runaway in some ways.
Yeah.
She
Anyway,
goes
so
with
You can run
strange.
through the lava fields, Sarjenka, but be back in 10 minutes.
So when she beams up with Data to the transporter room, Brian has a pretty good reaction.
There's going to be hell to pay.
There's going to be hell to pay here.
No, he's
I
like,
love how
God damn, another ginger.
He acts so surprised, but who did he expect the second person to be? When Data said two to beam up?
He didn't think about it that hard. And he goes, well, because Data goes, "Where's Riker?" He goes, "On the bridge." And then he goes, "Where are you going? Are you going to take
And you're going to take that?
that?" Referring to Sarjenka.
Oh, there would be forums flooded with identity people for that one line.
Kevin and I referred to her as that for the rest of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to take that? Anyway, so Data goes, "Well, because Sarjenka says, you can't leave me here with O'Brien. No way. I have to go with you, Data." So Data goes, "Well, I got to take her to the bridge. That's how it goes."
O'Brien's like, I got potatoes and kippers.
And O'Brien acting like he's never seen an alien before.
Right.
Yeah.
That? I've never seen.
Well,
what is that?
She is godly hideous. Like, terrible.
Well, there's differing opinions on her level of cuteness or not. But I guess they want Data here for the procedure to shoot the torpedoes. So they're kind of annoyed that he's not back yet. But just then he shows up with Sarjenka, and Picard is annoyed. He does not like kids on his bridge. He especially does not like kids from planets that are pre-warp and breaking the Prime Directive. So he tries to get Picard tries to
gingers too.
Yeah, he also hates gingers.
Well, you never really except for Beverly.
Except for Beverly. Anyway, so Picard tries to get Troy to take Sarjenka to sickbay, but Sarjenka's having none of it. She's kind of afraid of Troy. And
Jesus Christ, that's unsettling.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
hate the hands.
The hands are the worst.
I hate it.
Is it just she's got longer thumb and no, I can't tell.
No, all of the fingers are
Yes,
extended.
like the ring finger and the pinky and the thumb are all longer than they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some kind of evolutionary instinct to go, that's not right. That's
Oh my god, it's salad fingers.
salad fingers. Yeah, I guess her index finger and her middle finger are potentially her real fingers here, and then the rest are kind of got prosthetics on, I think. She's not
No, they're all got prosthetics on. Look at those.
You think all 5 of those fingers are prosthetics?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can actually see the thumb is
Yeah.
really apparent because you can see where the thumb ends and then there's an extension.
Yeah, that one I can tell. The pinky's definitely too long to be a pinky.
Either way, can we just fucking move on? I don't want to
No,
keep seeing these.
I like making you unsettled.
I am unsettled.
Get it from a different angle. Anyway, so Sarjenka's
Even
not going.
Riker's like, oh, fingers. Look at them. Ugh.
Yeah, so they say, fine, you keep Sarjenka at your station. Don't let her get in the way or whatever. But Data's like, I need my hand back to save your planet.
Get her a towel. She looks too drippy.
She's a little sweaty. So they fire their torpedoes. Pew.
That was good. That was a good one. I like that one.
Pew pew. We see the geological instability is being something or other stabilized, I suppose.
Oh well, that's good.
And Data's like, we're trying to save your planet. If it works, you'll be okay. And then a couple of minutes later, we see that the red stuff turns back into normal stuff and gets a little less red. The day is saved.
I hate it
everyone.
when my red stuff is really red.
Yeah, you want it to be bluish. And,
I want it to be less red.
Less red.
Yeah,
a little bit of red's okay, but not too much red.
It's got to be classy.
The resonator frequency. I don't know. I'm not. The tectonic stresses are coming down.
That's good.
And Wesley Crusher looks as surprised as anybody.
Guys, I did it.
Yeah, good thing I had those guys on my team.
Good thing I knew what I was doing, guys.
Right. So then it's over. Data's saved the planet. They've all saved the planet. Look, it's your planet.
Can you just beam her back now? Jesus.
But she's seen space.
Good. Put her out there.
Anyway, take her to sickbay. Picard says, and so Data takes Sarjenka to sickbay.
Take her to the airlock.
Picard calls down to Pulaski while Data's in transit, and he goes, "Well, can you erase her memory?" And Pulaski goes, "Well, theoretically, I could do it if I can go after these certain chemical bonds in the brain. Beam her back. No one will believe her." Yeah, there's also that.
That's also
option.
true.
It's like, what does it matter? There's not much thing. Sarjenka sees her on the ship, and Pulaski is
deciding whether she wants to enter the Matrix.
I guess a red pill or blue pill here. Yeah, I'm not sure why she's holding these up.
Hey, there's more tits right there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They were
Am I allowed to say
preoccupied.
tits
Don't
on
talk
YouTube?
about Pulaski like that.
Why are they so low?
Doctor tits to you.
Sarjenka also picks up Pulaski's singing stone. It's like a rock that plays a different song for whoever holds it. And she goes, "What song does it play for you, Data?" And he goes, "Nothing. I'm a machine. It won't play a song."
Poor me.
Ashley already said I don't like anything. I'm a machine, so it's no song for me. And by the end of this, Data steals.
Can we
stone.
just get her some sunblock and send her home? Why is she still here?
Well, we got to erase her memory against her will.
I want to know how Pulaski can randomly erase somebody's memory who she's never met in a species he's never even encountered before.
You know, like Star Trek's ability to erase memories is very spotty.
Amazing.
Like sometimes they can do it, sometimes they can't. Like it's just I don't know. It depends on whatever it is. But this time, I guess we're led to believe she could. But for all we know, Sarjenka woke up and it didn't work. Like it's never quite established that this was effectual. Anyway, but you know, Data's like, she won't remember me, but Pulaski says you will remember her, so that's something.
I mean, he remembers everything.
He remembers everything. But time to get to the brain scrambler and get that going here. So put blue light over her. Damn it, kid. First rule of visiting interstellar strangers, don't touch anything. Yes.
Yeah. You could put your hand in something and end up pregnant.
You could. In a rowboat.
So does anybody want to break the bad news to Mike, or
do we need Lower Decks to do a follow-up? Well, you never know.
Lower Decks to do a follow-up on everything.
Yeah, second contact, always.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he said Sarjenka's like asleep here. He kind of puts her into the bed. Leaves her the singing stone, which he totally stole from Pulaski's office. Maybe with her.
Which I'm pretty sure there's a directive for that too.
Yeah. How about not being a thief, Data?
And this is how he gets back at her finally for being rude to him when she first got on
He's
the
like,
ship. He was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm stealing your stone.
Yeah, next week she's like, I can't find my singing stone, Data. Do you know where it is? He's like, no.
This is for the Data comment.
What does it matter?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Data then goes to have a look outside while he's here. We see the planet less lava-like, still red.
It's still not great.
It's more orange than red
Cooling
now.
down.
Yeah. It's the orange planet. And looking a lot less extreme. So they save the day, everyone. And he closes
It's like,
up
why
the
is
door.
everything diamonds? Is this a casino?
Data beams up and he says goodbye.
Why would you beam up inside? Why wouldn't you just move outside and then do it?
Wesley then comes to the bridge and help me out, Ashley. What was said here between these two? I can't remember the final ones.
Riker's like, I bet you never had anybody in holodeck 4. You loser.
Oh, yeah, because he said, hey, Riker goes, hey, Wes, do you want to sit in the captain's chair? And he goes, no, sir, I'm not qualified to sit there. Not for a long time. And he says, Riker says, you did
Neither am I, and I do it all the time.
You did a good job. I'm proud of you. Wesley says, thank you, sir. Does it get any easier? And Riker says, no. Then Data comes in. Data goes to see Picard in the ready room. What else would Picard be doing? Reading a book. And he's like, Data's here to apologize for everything that went down. But Picard's like, no apologies necessary. You're one of my officers. One of my friends was troubled. I had to help you. And, remembrance and regrets, too, are also part of friendship. Some good lines here. I think there are there's some decent dialogue.
Yeah, actually, the dialogue's a lot better than I remember it.
And Picard finally says, and that understanding has brought you a step closer to understanding humanity. So this was a worthwhile venture.
They always dangle that in front of him, eh? He's like, and you're almost there.
Almost, not quite. Yeah.
Humanity is like the carrot in front of him.
Yeah, that's how they keep him motivated.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the episode, as it is. Would anybody like to trivia us tonight, Jody?
I can do it if you give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Of course. One reviewer said that Data leaving behind the Singing Stone made no sense, since Data knew that Sarjenka would have no memory of him or receiving the Singing Stone, so his motivation would come from the sentiment of, Pernica put it, he's doing that for him. And if he doesn't have any feelings, why is he doing it?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, that is.
Because he does have feelings.
Yeah,
but
they
we're-
keep telling us he
they
doesn't,
showed it from
but
the
they keep
very
showing
beginning.
us that he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Alrighty, so this is the first episode where Picard actually drinks Earl Grey tea. He had previously ordered a cup of Earl Grey from the replicator in Contagion, but because the computer malfunctioned, he instead received a small potted plant.
So this is the first one we ever see him drink it. Okay, that's something.
I don't know. It was the same color as whiskey, and he slammed it pretty fast. Not really like tea.
So Patrick Stewart was not entirely comfortable with horse riding at the time of the shooting. Later, when filming Star Trek Generations, he shared horseback scenes with William Shatner, who was a horse owner and riding enthusiast, who would amplify displaying his mastery of control during the horseback dialogue. Shatner coached Stewart and provided a great deal of help as well as various tips. One such tip was that one could prevent one's pants from riding up by wearing pantyhose underneath.
Shatner
That's
slept with
what
a horse in a
That's a
tent.
Shatner move. He's like, you want?
That's definitely a Shatner move.
Do you don't want that tight bum up your riding pants? You're gonna need to get some pantyhose, man.
Yeah. Picard's
So
holodeck.
Shatner sleeps with several horses in his tent at the same time.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
You gotta have a whole
Drinks
bunch
their
of
milk too.
Probably, yeah. Right, straight from the teat. Anyway, Picard's holodeck sequence was filmed at a ranch near the LA suburb of Thousand Oaks. Exciting. This episode marks a notable shift in Pulaski's attitude towards Data. Previously, she had regarded him as a complex machine that merely simulates human feelings. Now she is among Data's staunchest defenders during the conference in Picard's quarters.
Did you see Data on purpose there?
I did. Arguing the validity of Data's concern when Worf dismisses them. And then we'll do one more because there really isn't that much, quite honestly. When Wesley goes to 10 forward to seek advice from Riker at around the 19-minute mark, he then sits down. He performs what would now be referred to as the Riker maneuver by lifting his legs over the back of the chair as he sits down, in the same idiosyncratic manner as Riker, as happens just moments later when Riker himself takes the seat. So they both actually do it in this episode. So there you go. Yeah. You know what? You know what's better than a Riker maneuver?
What's that?
Oh, Wesley split and fold. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
That's
all I got.
Well, thank you, Jody. That was great.
There you go.
Thanks for giving us that. We'll get into our ratings now. Just bring this in, and we'll give this episode a score. Okay, here we go. I can go first. I think this episode's about a 7 for me. It's okay. It doesn't blow me away, but it's got some good moments. I really enjoy, like, this episode always is where I would think about, like, when I have somebody that I'm working with who's younger than me, or when I was younger, if I had somebody who was working under me that was older, and this idea that you could being a professional, I think and putting that stuff aside is important. And watching that as a kid, I always enjoyed that aspect of it. But I don't love this episode either. So Jody, what do you want to give it?
Well, I came in here thinking I was going to give it a 5, but now that you've retold me some of the dialogue, I think I'm going to bring it a little bit higher. I'm going to give it a 6.5. It would have been an 8.5 if it wasn't for the girl.
Okay. Ashley.
I'm also a 7.
Also a 7. And Davan. 7? All right. Well, we're pretty consistent here with our feelings on the episode. It's it's at least a B. We're averaging 6.9. This episode has a 6.8 on IMDb, so I think we're right along with most people. We're good, but not great. Is sort of the feeling here, and that is.
I'd give Icarus, Times Squared, Royale all 7s as well.
Going back to Royale.
Yeah.
I love Royale.
And the Dauphin,
oh, that's a terrible episode.
I hate that one. I hate that episode.
I gave it a 4, and now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have given it a 4. But
It's
anyway,
awful. I can't stand that. That's the one with like the
girl,
Shapeshifter
Wesley's
woman
girlfriend and the
Yeah.
shapeshifter. Oh, like
and
I hate it.
the Wookiee,
How well?
Yeah,
the
Throw
short
a score.
Wookiee.
Throw a score down.
2.
2.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
Ashley, if you feel like chiming in any scores,
What one's
while we're-
Contagion?
Contagion is
One where the ship gets all wonky.
no. Well, I feel like I just reviewed it.
You did about 3 weeks ago.
Contagion
4 weeks ago.
is this one. Oh, it's the one with the Iconian Gateway.
Oh,
I was supposed to be on that episode, and I ended up having to call in.
give me 7 on that one too. I told you I like the middle of season 2. There's a lot of 7s in the middle of season 2 for me.
Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, we're all caught up with you for season 2 then.
Yeah, I probably should go put mine in.
Yeah, feel free if you ever want to go and throw your scores in. All of you have access. Let's see what the people are saying in the comments. Mike is giving this a 5.8. Norman a 6.7. I don't see one from Sam here, but he often does like to chime in.
He nods off by this point.
Okay, well, I think that's
Sam always comes in like 2 points lower than all of us. Like he's usually like slightly more depressed about the episode. So
yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't give it a 10, Davan.
he
Yeah.
He doesn't like that much.
like it.
It's not worthy of a 10.
It's not worthy of a 10. Okay, well, next week's episode is season 2, episode 16, Q Who. The introduction of the Borg. And this one probably go higher than a 7 for most of us. We'll see. Our panel for that episode is Jody, Heather, and my dad, Ted. Because my dad loves the Borg. He thought this was a great concept, and
I can't wait to be told I'm stupid. It's great. I can't wait.
No, only if you disagree.
Only if I disagree
on the importance of Gary 7. Then it's going to be a
fucking terrible.
So
anyway,
so look out for that next week. I'm looking forward to covering that episode. And we also have For All Mankind reviews on Monday nights. Our next episode is season 1, episode 6, Home Again. Check out that.
I just watched this yesterday. Oh, such a good episode.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, great. We're really having fun.
That show is just spot on the whole time so far.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. And Ronald D. Moore and a bunch of Star Trek writers, for anybody who doesn't know, who helped create that show. So it's
it shows too. There's a lot of stuff that really kind of kicks into the Star Trek stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. So for me, it's like what Enterprise could have been, in some ways.
I think it was kind of what Enterprise wanted to be at one point, and then people got involved.
Yeah. Well, what are we saying? We need an American Gladiators rewatch show. Well,
I mean, like that's gonna be like American society in about 6 weeks. You guys all just gonna be beating at each other with
6 weeks. They don't. The Americans don't achieve anything that quickly. Come on now.
Yeah, not quite.
Even their crazy rioting will take longer than that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I think that's probably it for tonight, guys. What should we go out with here? We need a good quote. I love this Troy
O'Brien.
You want O'Brien?
Yeah, O'Brien.
Okay. Okay. We'll see you next time, everyone. Live long and podcast, and you have a great night.
No problem, sir. I'll have him out of there as smooth as ice.
See you.